Absolutely. But my argument is this. These are isolated cases. When you look at the overwhelming, take for example Germany. From day one, they delivered on their these are bilateral commitments, a bit of the techniques of this, but the technology, but these are bilateral commitments these countries are having with the United States, so this is not, strictly speaking, NATO. Bilateral commitments, they all did what they promised to do, and this led to between 4,000 and 5,000 US planes taking off from Europe. I would argue it would have been very difficult to do Iran without having Europe as a power protection platform for the United States. Delivered again, he's right. There is also reason for disappointment. It is a mixed bag.
Well, the big question is, are they paying the 5%? They agreed 6 months ago when we were together to pay 5%, and for the most part, they're not paying.
Well, when you look at the numbers, take for example Germany. So we agreed they get a couple of years to get there because you cannot spend it in 1 year because you have an absorption problem. But Germany, for example, Germany is doubling its defense spending between 2021 and 2029. They will spend over 150 billion by 2029, which is staggering, more than the French and the Brits combined even. Take the Dutch, and Poland, and the Baltics already there, countries like Denmark really stepping up, so and the Nordics, so it's a bit of a mixed bag, but most of them are doing it, and the alliance is so much stronger because of this man.
Are the soldiers getting
Please, yellow dress.
Thank you, Lieutenant from GB News. You mentioned that our Prime Minister has got one foot out the door. The new guy's coming in, Andy Burnham. What do you know about him, Mr. President, and what does he need to do to improve the relationship between our two countries? The new incoming Prime Minister, Andy Burnham.
I don't know anything. I see that he was, I guess, the mayor of a town. I hear he's extremely liberal. Extremely. So that means he probably won't open up the North Sea. You know, I gave gave Keir Starmer some pretty good advice. I said, open up the North Sea. Go to Aberdeen, which was the hottest city in the whole continent. It was the oil city. It was the oil of Europe. And they closed everything. It was terrible. I saw it before my eyes, and I couldn't believe it. The North Sea is loaded. I have had every oil company come to see me. Sir, could you give us access to the UK? We would do anything to drill in the North Sea. And they haven't even found what's there. The amazing thing is they buy their oil from Norway, which gets the oil from the North Sea. Think of it. And they pay a big premium. Norway's got now $2 trillion in the bank, and UK is dying. So they should open up the North Sea. It's an easy one. And a lot of good things are going to happen. It's among the greatest fields in the world. Peter?
President Trump, great night for Democratic Socialist candidates last night. In the New York primaries, they swept and knocked out 2 incumbents. You're from New York. Why do you think it is that now the endorsement of Zohran Mamdani means more than the endorsement of Hakeem Jeffries?
Well, they're going radical left. They're going really, you talk about the Democrat socialists, it's really communist. These people, I watched that woman last night. That's not a socialist. I know socialists. That woman is a communist. And what they don't say is that I was 16-0 last night. But mine were a little more boring, a little more mainstream. They were Republican conservatives. But we were 16-0. And if you look over the last 2.5 years, we're about 347 and just about 0. That's pretty good. But nobody writes that. But he picked 3. They won. They beat a guy named Dan Goldman, who's, a loser. He was one of my prosecutors, one of my many prosecutors that they used on me. Dan Goldman, not a good prosecutor, fortunately, but he's now looking for a job. I was very surprised to see, because he's a pretty liberal guy. When they go more liberal than Dan Goldman, they're really into Never Neverland.
Does this tell you that the Democratic Party's 2028 nominee will likely be, or could likely be, a Democratic socialist?
Well, it should make it easier for Republicans, because most of the nation is composed of sane people. They don't want to... if you look throughout history, go back thousands of years, you've always had socialism and communism by different names. It's never ever worked. It's not going to work this time either.
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah, please.
There's so many different ways you can do
As a Turk myself,
it. Socialism and communism, like a timeline kind
as a Turk,
of. All the costumes have been
as a Turk myself, I can tell you with great confidence that your presence in Ankara is eagerly anticipated. What's your message to your great friend Erdogan and the Turkish people? Because you're going to be there in less than 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm a Turk myself. And
I like him. He's a friend of mine. And he stayed out of the war. He was a prime candidate to go into the war with Iran. Maybe on the Iran side, because he's not a big fan of Israel, as you know. And I asked him to stay out. He stayed out. And who else was great? Was President Xi of China. He could have come in. He gets half of his oil from that area. I could see him wanting to, and I asked him to please stay out, and he did. We did a good job, but he stayed out. Erdogan's a great leader, very strong person, great military, and I asked him to stay out, and he did, and so did President Xi, and frankly, so did Putin, if you really look. But you could say that Vladimir has some other things to focus on. But they all stayed out. It was pretty amazing. People were surprised. And I think that Erdogan he loves Turkey, right? He's doing a great job. He loves Turkey. I love the U.S., but he loves Turkey, and he's doing a great job. He's a respected man, a respected leader, and he's been a friend of mine. Now, I shouldn't say that, because guys like Peter would say, he likes Erdogan. He likes Erdogan. No, Peter won't. Peter doesn't get it. Some of the others, let's say. But Erdogan is a strong man, but he's been everything I've ever asked him for, he's done.
Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General clearly pointed out that allies want to do defense business with you.
and Turkey is definitely one of them. They want the F-110 jet engines, and they want the F-35 fighter jets. Are you going to Turkey with a big gift bag for Erdogan?
Yeah, I think so. Look, he's a member of NATO. Some people don't consider himself, but he really is. He's a strong member of NATO. Yeah, I'm going to probably do something that's going to make him very happy.
And Turkey has
Tell him
a
hello,
huge,
right? Tell him hello. He's a good man.
And Turkey has a huge defense industrial base, 3,000 companies working all over the alliance, also here in the United States. So strong.
People don't know how big Turkey is in terms of the military. It's a very strong. They have a lot of our equipment. A very strong military because of him. Yeah, please.
Your expectations, sir, about this meeting. What do you think?
Well, except for the fact that it was being held in Turkey by President Erdogan, I don't think I would have gone to it.
You would have come for me.
But I might go. You're right. I mean, I wouldn't have gone for what we went through over the last 2 months with the various countries. But you're probably right. I would have gone for you, but I would have not gone for most people. But he called me up. He said, "Please, I have it in Turkey. You got to be there. The United States has to be there." And so I'm going out of respect to the president. I just want their loyalty. We don't need their money. We don't need anything. We have the most powerful military in the world by far. But I just want loyalty. We're so loyal to them. We're always fighting for them. We have thousands of troops all over Europe. In Germany, we have 50,000 troops. And then you want give us a little nudge, give us a little kiss. We don't want much. And they say, no, we can't do it. We're paying hundreds of millions of dollars for the troops that we have in Germany, the troops that we have in the UK, the troops that we have all over Europe. I will say Poland, I endorsed him, and he won. By the way, many people that I
It doesn't
endorsed
even say
outside of
Trump
the
on
United
it.
States
It just says
won.
"Make America Great
We had a big
Again."
win yesterday.
Right? Isn't that all it
Colombia.
says?
Favorite place of
America
Marco.
Great Again.
Marco loves Colombia.
I don't see Trump's name
endorsed him
anywhere on
and
that
he
hat. I
was
see a red and white hat. This
and he
is
won.
"Make America
But the
Great
same thing in
Again."
Poland. He
I
was
mean,
number 10.
some people
endorsed
I
him.
know, I
didn't
agree.
like
It's already
the man
great.
that was
Make it
president
better.
at all. And I endorsed him. He was a fighter, a big fighter, a good fighter.
Or under your
And I
skin.
endorsed him. He came from
And
10th place that he won.
then you can stop
And they say it was the biggest
to
upset in
make
Europe in
it
50 years for a major election.
What?
And you know what? He's going to be
Dude,
a great
that's-
president of Poland.
That's kind of
But
ridiculous.
we have many people, South America. But we just the other day, we
Considering
endorsed somebody that LT Gray. They
the
call him LT Gray 'cause he's
symbolization
tough. He's
and
another fighter. I like fighters again.
wording
But he won.
that's allowed on T-shirts and
Do you think
hats.
President Zelensky is winning right now?
That is
Well, he's doing
absolutely
pretty well.
insane.
No matter how you look at it,
It's
he's
kinda
doing pretty
sickening,
well. He's
trying to
holding his own at
understand.
least. A lot of people dying on both sides.
I'm
But I
trying to
think
make
he's doing
sense
pretty
of
well.
it. I know. What the
Look,
fuck?
you have to say he's
Oh
courageous.
my god.
He's got great equipment, but he's got great men. He's got fighters.
Can I ask you one other question?
Yeah.
Have you seen the report into
People
the
have worn hats that literally say, "I'm a big fucking dick."
Why not?
At some point, well, I have to wait for it to be
And it's
complete.
totally
I don't know that they're ever going to
But
solve that
Make
problem.
America
And you
Great
can
Again, you
speak,
gotta
but
go, dude.
I don't know that they're
We
ever.
can't.
They're going to say it was one
This
of our
is about
missiles.
the
I don't know
dumbest
that they're
thing.
ever going to solve that problem
This
in
is
terms
the
of
dumbest,
whose fault was it? Because there were
dumbest.
missiles flying all over the place.
Dumb.
And it's horrible what happened. But there were missiles flying all over the
What
place.
the
And
frig?
somebody said it was our missile. Well, maybe it wasn't our missile, but I've seen nothing to lead me to believe it was. There were plenty of missiles being flown by other people. What do you think?
Someone's just laughing at the fact that we're listening to
very seriously, and
something
when the
talk
appropriate
about
time is right,
missiles.
whatever that outcome is,
We're listening
that'll
to
be
some
the time.
gangster crap.
Do you know what?
I mean, if
Dude's
you
getting
come up with
kicked
the
out
right
of the
answer,
public
I don't think it's going to be us.
Yeah.
I don't think it was us. There were a lot of missiles being fired at that time. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you
so
just had a colourful
confused.
lunch on the Senate, in the Senate. Would you be open to a compromise measure that had provisions of the SAVE Act
I mean,
into a
literally,
written
like, I think
segregation
people
bill?
have worn hats that say
the same
"fuck
action. It's
America."
not compromise.
Fuck
It's
America.
Voter ID. It's proof of citizenship, and it's also
And
the
listen to what
mail-in
they're saying
ballots.
about ICE.
We want mail-in ballots
Our
for the
Homeland
military
Security
if they're away. We
and
want it for people
immigration
that are ill, and
departments.
people that are in
It's
some
totally
form
insane.
handicapped or have a hard time,
Speaking
or people
of
even that are on
communism and
vacation.
socialism,
I'm open to that. But mail-in ballots, you have to vote because we have a lot of rigged elections.
And would you veto the House of
And then we added in men
Insane.
in women's sports is a no-no. No men in women's sports, and no transgender mutilization of our children. These are 99% issues, and we have to do it. We have to protect. Look at what's gone on in Los Angeles and California. The vote still hasn't been counted. What's it, 2 weeks now? It still hasn't been counted. And I don't know Spencer Pratt, but I watched him, and he was doing really nicely. All of a sudden, he's out. And I said he was going to be out because he was doing well. And then a week later, they started saying, oh, he's starting to lose favor. He's starting to lose. I said, they just rigged the election. And they were going to do that with Steve Hilton. He's a good man. And I asked the U.S. Attorney to go look at their votes. And as soon as I did that, they announced that Steve Hilton would be a finalist. So, no, we have rigged elections. Now, in my case, I made it too big to rig. Remember the expression, too big to rig? But we have rigged, and we have to have voter ID. If we don't have voter ID and proof of citizenship, but basically it's the Save America Act. Everybody wants it. Everybody is in, including Democrats.
Yeah.
87% of
2009.
Democrats want it. Not the leaders, because they want it cheap. Their policy is so bad, they're unelectable.
Would you
Yeah,
veto
I
the
do
housing
remember
bill
that.
if
Of
it
course
came to
they
your
did.
desk, sir? Would you veto it?
About what?
If the housing bill
What they
that
did to him
you
was
signed today,
absolutely
if
I
it
just said I'm not signing the housing bill. I want to see what happens with Sam. Look, the housing bill is housing. I made billions of dollars with housing. I know housing better than anybody, maybe anywhere. It's all about the interest rate. Lower the interest rates, you can have all the housing you want. But you have to understand, I don't want to hurt people that own houses too. These people, for the first time in their lives, they have valuable houses. They become rich. I don't want to hurt them either.
Sir,
What you want to do is what good for everyone? Get the interest rates down. We have this numbskull that was the head of the Fed before, and he's a stupid person. And we call him too late because he was too late with the interest rates all the time. We need low interest rates. Low interest rates will solve everything. Will solve that. Now, despite that, we're doing well with housing. But where we're really doing well is oil is plummeting and costs are coming down. Affordability, we're doing great. The Democrats gave us a tremendous affordability problem, and we're reducing prices a lot.
Our new Prime Minister will be installed in a matter of weeks, could be 3 or 4 weeks. Would you want to be the first person on his list to visit globally?
No, but I think we're probably of a different persuasion. He's very liberal. But, I got along well with Starmer. I disagreed with Starmer. I said, you have two problems, immigration and energy. And crime, too, by the way. Crime. You have a terrible mayor of London, by the way. I don't want to cause any problems, but your mayor of London is grossly incompetent, a bad person, and a horrible representative for your country. You know that. That's why you're smiling and laughing, and it's true. But you know that. The mayor of London is a horror show. But you have a crime problem. You have an immigration problem. The immigration helps cause the crime, by the way. And you have a tremendous energy problem. You're building stupid windmills all over the country, and they don't do the job. You have the greatest oil field in the world, one of them. It's called the North Sea oil.
Someone in class just brought up an interesting, I don't know if it should be a concern or maybe just something to draw to the attention of some of the developers or people that do that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have any control over that, but yeah, that's interesting. So someone, hold on, is saying, yeah, no, I get what you're. I think I understand what you're saying. Let me translate this over to so and see if they think it's an interesting concern or just a bit of information that maybe should let them know. Call it a conspiracy, yeah. So what they're saying is they just noticed I noticed that a long time ago, but I didn't really kind of think of that. It's interesting too with our level of awareness with things that really didn't register, but I can see how that would help some of those chains and businesses, so to speak. So they said when they open up their YouTube on their phone, it doesn't do it on the smart TV. It does it on your smartphone. It doesn't do it on the laptop. It does it on my tablet. I think it does it on the tablet. I'd have to check, but I know for sure it does it on the phone. Right, so when you open YouTube, it just automatically plays a random video and it puts it in your watch history. Right, like I just got one, like yesterday, a clip from America's Got Talent popped up. And I can't remember her name. I think she's a Spanish one. Sorry, I'm sorry. Anyways, I know, I'm so racist. I don't know her name, but America's Got Talent, the Spanish one. I think she's Spanish, right? Venezuelan, I don't know. Spanish? Espanol? Right, so it was she was watching this dude play the guitar and she was crying. The song must have really meant something to her. Right, so that one in my watch history, and then this one here, it's just a nature video. I have no idea. Right, and sometimes if you go to these channels of, right, like this just looks like a nice nature video. BC, whatever. Nature's addiction and its melody and the beauty, and it's a landscape, a mountain. I didn't like it. I can click on the channel just to see. I mean, this thing is in my watch history. So what if they have other stuff on their channel? I don't know. Let's check it out. Okay, let's see. It looks interesting. Let's see, what's this?
If a Muslim uses this brief time to pray, then whatever he asks for, as long as it is necessary and benefit for him, and this world and the hereafter will be immediately granted,
So these are videos, that nature video that just popped up and went in my watch history when I opened YouTube. These are other videos on that channel.
A young man came to a kiai, his face wrinkled. He wanted to complain about the problem. The kiai took him to a old lake. The kiai brings glasses, brings salt. So one brings a glass, one brings salt, one brings a hand. It had arrived next to the cleric's words, try getting water from the lake, take it. Then the cleric filled it with half a handful of salt or drink. That's salty. Drink first. As soon as you drink it. That's right. Salty. He vomited the water. And secondly, the remaining half of the salt was thrown by the kiai into the lake. Now take another new one. Take and drink. How does it feel? Fresh. That's the state of your heart. If your heart is only as narrow as this cup, then even small problems will be felt. Big like salt, the slightest taste is salty. But if you expand your heart as big as this lake, then what is big will feel small. Even the small ones are lost just like that. A young man came to a kiai, his face wrinkled. He wanted to complain about the problem.
Oh, I thought that was kind of cool, so I'm going to share it. Right, so that was just other videos, right, that what popped up when I opened YouTube. It was just a short. Yeah, shorts will pop up. Right, so sometimes you go to the channels. Right, it could be a lot of